I've made my decision. The winner of RuPaul's Drag Race is I'm right.
Cher-mit's Cher-mit.
Oh, Jesus. Gross. I'm right.
God damn it.
Oh gosh. Okay. Hey everybody. Welcome to everybody's favorite media response show, but we're here on a somber note because this was a rough week all around. We are X's for Show at X's for Show, but I'm Nico Action. You can check me out at NICOACTION.
Do it, Jonah.
Hi everyone, you can follow me on socials at Peak Jonah, that's P-E-A-K.
For real, I just laughed so hard that I have a horrifying cramp in one of my abdominal muscles and it feels like I'm going to die. So thank you, Kevo. I knew we were getting that first one, but the second one is what really just ended my existence.
The Geneva monster was another level.
Truly.
Oh, I have such feelings.
I am in so much pain and it is worth every second of it. I am TK and you can find me at TK Elemental.
I'm your producer, Kev O'Reilly, pulling tricks and being slick, and you can find me at Kev O'Reilly. We're here to talk, well, it might be tragic, but at least it certainly is usually entertaining television, that's for sure.
We are talking about this week's Drag Race, this week's The Traitors, and not this week's The Floor. And man, am I going to lay into that. But thanks to the nice people at Hulu who responded to my passive-aggressive tweet, the only way you can handle a white woman when she is Karening at you as hard as I Karened in that tweet. So
you do become a white woman.
I mean, that incident was fucking wild.
Yeah, I had a slow reveal TV show spoiled for me. It's just terrible. But let's talk about a show. Oh wait, no, I think we have a big question.
There's always a big question.
There's always.
So many.
Life's always throwing big questions at you.
And I don't remember the big question.
You're so cute.
Oh, good. What would you do if you didn't know the song and you had to lip sync? Because that's the best way to walk into this conversation. I'm of two minds. Number one, would I refuse to take the mask off? Or number two, would I cast a mirage so you would think I knew the words but didn't? It's tough. I think we've all been there, right? How many of us have been at a karaoke situation where you kind of like get up there and you're like, yeah, I'll do this song. And you get up there and you realize, one line and all of the lines don't go that one way. And you do not know a bunch of vocal inflections you're supposed to know. You just you just sort of you just make it work. This did not make it work.
I am team absolutely the fuck not. That has never happened to me. That would never happen to me. I don't know when they get the iPod, but for one thing, my self-esteem is such that I'm going into every challenge assuming I am in the bottom and fully learning. Before I apply to Drag Race, I will have learned every song in Queer Culture's lyrics.
I just want to say, and I am of the opposite. I am so full of confidence.
I know.
After my performance, they're going to say, this is a lip sync for the win. And I just want to be ready in case.
Also, I'm not getting up there for karaoke if I'm not ready with the song. It's just never happening. I genuinely do not know. I would be so bad because I cannot think of a situation in which there would be a challenge that I was not readily prepared for or 100% certain that I was going to fail because I was not readily prepared for. I could not go anywhere near the final night of a challenge without having learned the song. And that's not an admonishment of Mirage. That is the way I work. I just would always assume I have to know every single lyric, probably to the detriment of my look. I would probably spend too much time learning the song, and my look would falter because I was doing that instead, and I would be in the bottom, but I'd know the lyrics.
A real gift of the Fagi situation.
This bitch.
Joj.
Right.
I'm with TK. If you stay ready, you ain't got
You
it.
gotta get ready.
Okay. How much of the words do I not know? Do I like at least know the chorus? Or like I don't know the verses, or do I not know nothing?
7 words in that chorus, girl.
If I'm panicking backstage and I have that hour 30 to like learn the words,
You gonna crush that beer? You gonna chug it?
and think nothing is wrong. No, I would do a lot of I would do one of the drag queen tricks. You say a lot of watermelon elephant, a lot of trying to get as much of the syllables as you can as best with fake words, and lots of turning around, lots of stuff to like just throwing your hair, anything to not obviously hide the illusion of your mouth that you don't know anything, as inconspicuous as possible when everybody's just looking at you. A very difficult feat, but a feat nonetheless that is possible.
Yeah, feet.
All right, Kevo, show feet. What do you think? What would you do?
Show feet, show face. I really agree with the strongest sentiment that is going around in terms of you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. We can't really speak to how many songs they were given this specific season, but it's not like it's 50, and that is all you listen to. That is truly all you listen to. But I really felt very differently about the elimination after watching the Untucked. Not in any sort of she deserved it, but like I saw where she was very nervous. I saw where she clearly didn't know the words. I saw where she shotgunned an entire can of beer. So I can maybe see where nerves won out. We can say it's a simple song, but like I don't know all the words and I'm gay, so it's tough. It was really hard to watch. It really was.
I want to level with you because Kevo, I do think there's a lot of what I do hear what you're saying, because all three of you are sort of saying, should one begin at preparation, one shall not need to achieve preparation.
Word.
And I
Calm
understand.
down, Wilma Shakespeare.
Right? Right. But as I adjust my neck ruffle, for the Elizabethan Society, I do want to say that there is a sort of humanity to what happened in this episode that really is the heart of what I think I'm reacting to and relating to. I have gotten up there and literally gone to sing, and just my brain has gone empty pants. And it's been at auditions, and it's been at karaoke's, and it's been tons of places. I understand this isn't that she was ready and her brain went empty pants, but I think there's a humanity in what happened that I am overly attached to as a performer, that I'm just like, yeah, this isn't Roseanne Barr at the national
Baseball
anthem.
game.
And this isn't Roseanne Barr on Twitter. This is Mirage, who maybe hit the Roseanne Barr a little too hard, but I don't think that she is an unsavable mess.
Well, it's a wild thing because her performance out of this world shot. I thought the one thing they kind of did not do justice to was really, they kind of showed her performing so well, and they didn't really show how little she didn't know the lyrics. So you as an audience member, you get Plasma saying it, because otherwise I think if you're doing a lot of wide shots, you as the watcher are not really noticing. And then it's Michelle with the not one word, which was untrue. Michelle, don't be unkind. That really establishes that she doesn't know, but otherwise her dance is so gorgeous. And when you're talking about a faceplant situation, it's usually even a Valentina where there wasn't much performance on top of the fact that she didn't know the lyrics. Usually what happens, when you talk about freezing at an audition, Usually you're just, it's not like you sing beautifully, but you are just kind of cawing along with the song. You face plant. And this was a really weird cognitive dissonance situation where I was like, oh, Mirage took this within 10 seconds. And then when Plasma comes in and says she doesn't know the lyrics, I'm still thinking, okay, but this dance is so good, maybe. And then when you really think about how Drag Race works, if you don't know the lyrics to a lip sync, you are going home.
If she hadn't also physically flubbed, she might have been able to pull it out, but it was not knowing so many words over time, and it was also physically faltering. But if we're ready to get into the conversation of the episode, what I really want to talk about is she didn't really belong in the bottom in the first place.
No,
and
I agree
I'm
with that.
kind of miffed that there wasn't more punishment for a girl literally not knowing what the character she's supposed to be performing is. That to me is so insane. So at the end of the day, I feel like she shouldn't even have been there.
It was really tough. This was, again, I think part of the problem I had with this entire challenge is you don't have SNL writers, so don't try to do a mockery of don't try to parody SNL when you don't have that talent level of writers to make it funny. This was also completely, utterly reused.
I also that's really good advice for the writers of SNL currently.
Sometimes
This was really kind of just rehashed and reused from All Stars 8 down to a lot of the sketches were literally just the exact same thing that happened on All Stars 8, and it's really weird, and now we're just comparing them both. The point I want to add is I think a lot of it could have been forgiven, but this was Cher. And RuPaul loves Cher more than a Michelle. It's so much.
Wow.
For the three people that did watch AJ and the Queen, me included, there's a joke in there where RuPaul says, Cher's not white, Cher's everything. Like, RuPaul really does love Cher. And because I imagine that it was a Cher song, it was a little bit of an extra slap in the face in RuPaul's eyes of like, no, this is my idol. You need to know this person.
I feel that.
But to the point that you guys were making, no, Mirage, and I'm trying to take my stand glasses off. I'm trying to take everything off. Mirage wasn't the best, but it was like a low save for me. Truly, everybody in that first group probably should have been in the bottom. Everybody in that first group was really, really bad. They didn't show a lot of people practicing, so I don't know if they just didn't really have a lot of help with volleying, with understanding how to read these lines. I could tell the people in those four people in the first group, Morphine, Morphine, Tsunami, Maya, and Geneva really struggled because I don't know if they all felt the most confident being funny. And you can tell with their performance that it really was. It was a low note to start on, and it kind of set the tone for the rest of the entire challenge.
And I think part of what we're talking about here then is, in some ways, when you're looking at a challenge like this, you do kind of have to grade on the what part you're playing gradient is. I'm not saying that SNL can get by on a bad host, but you can get by on a host that literally can act about as well as a slice of bread can be a refrigerator if you have your whole cast coming in hard. I am telling you as a fact, Mirage did no worse than a great number of people I have seen live hosting Saturday Night Live, but that opening crew of 4, they did not do better than your average opening crew of 4. And it's almost like because, and I don't know, I think this might have to be, who won the week Valentina went home? That's how little I am.
Shay and Sasha dual won. It was the commercial challenge.
And that's insane because literally Shay is one of my favorite queens ever that it does not even stick in my mind that that's who won. Because,
nobody's going to remember who won this.
Yeah. And it's a shame because I thought that Saphira and Plasma and
who won?
Nymphia did a really great job, and they should have been top 3 for their performance. That said, Q Q's look, okay. Here is a thing, and it's I'm ugly inside, and part of me is born dead. There's a song from my upcoming one-woman show, Oh God, Don't See This. And I'm really reflecting on why I am so enjoying Q being the eternal salutatorian. And I'm gonna say it's almost like we've entered this era where people are like, I'm entitled. It's my time. And this is something that we've talked about, like ball culture, where like they say, oh, it wasn't her time yet. Oh, it's her time. I think Q is like, guys, it's my time. And I just want to be like, girl, it's week 3. Shut the fuck up. And like, but not in a mean way.
Yeah.
In a like the stakes kind of way.
No, I kind of agree, because then in Tuck they were making like jokes about how Q was robbed again, and I'm like, what are you talking about? You've been here for like 3 days. This is way too early for you to be projecting the idea that someone's already losing every time. Like, yeah, okay, sure. It's not you don't love when it happens to you, but it's not quite the insane pattern they make it out to be.
I mean, 3 episodes in a row, and it's the first 3 episodes that she competed in, and you're like, okay. But I would understand that for last week. You can make the argument, Q could have won. Could have, I don't know if should have, but could have won. This week, and part of it's not her fault. The writing for her, the brick, was not good. But they were gassing her up, and I was like, she's giving the weirdest line reads. Like, she's reading off the teleprompter at the slowest pace I can think of.
It was Big Ben clock.
Again, did nobody like go over this with her? Did no one did she not do this in front of somebody and say like, hey, should you pick it up? Like, this is where the jokes are. Punch this up. It felt weird. And again, not fully her fault. The jokes did not land that well, but it felt like they were telling her, you did so amazing this week. And a couple of people were pointing out, well, it's based off of Bowen Yang doing the iceberg. We all know what the reference is. She didn't channel that, because if she channeled it, if she did the exact same tone of voice that Bowen did for the iceberg, it would have been hysterical. Because that in and of itself was hysterical. But it just felt weird. She didn't do bad, but it was not top worthy for me personally.
And I just want to add, I think even like, because what we're talking about is incorrect copied iconography in some ways. And I read this article that I can't remember where it was, but the more I'm looking at this particular logo, one of the things that bothers me is that it's RDR Live when it's never been called SNL Live. It's always been Saturday Night Live or SNL. So calling it RDR Live, actually, it almost misses the point. And it's almost like they're using TRL when TRL was Total Request Live. And like, there's almost something like they don't get the bit. You can't just adapt Drag Race to this sketch comedy and then grade it by the same barometer. Because one of the things that we kind of need to talk about is the gradient that this season is going by is becoming implausible to understand. This is asking me to identify Pantones, and it's just getting pan-terrifying.
I mean, I think I would argue that what's happening is there has been a shift in the concealment of production's hand in what's happening. And it kind of seems like maybe not a very deft shift, or maybe they are kind of banking on the fact that we all already knew. So it's but it feels like now more than ever, we're just seeing so much stuff where you're like, that's weird. That doesn't feel like, I mean, like the Plain Jane moment, it just doesn't feel like even a Roxy Andrews, any villain edit person that you can think of, would just come sit down and go, hey, I just wanted to talk to you and tell you. Like, it really does feel like a producer was like, the best thing for you to do right now would be to go approach Amanda.
Hey, and Jonah, I want to tell you, I think you're not a respectable artist, and I wish you weren't on our show.
Honestly, you can eat my entire fucking ass.
Oh, okay. That's
and
what
there
happened!
are so many little things like that throughout where I'm just like, it feels like production just has very specific ideas. And it goes down to things like, it really not feeling like Maya has done very well 2 weeks in a row and getting all the way up to, hey, you're in the bottom, with a little bit of like kind of making fun of her, pushing her regardless. It definitely felt like they were making fun of her with the Cher thing. I really hope she turns that into Money in the Bank. Because it is
They
funny,
said-
and I'm charmed. I think it was sweet, but I do think it was kind of, the rich, intelligent people laughing at the pauper.
They said, you're in the bottom, and she said, no.
Well, then that first one where Rue really pushed on her about, how she's timid, I don't think that made for good TV. I don't think from an edit that needed to be in there. I don't think it added much. But what both things do is lead you up to this point where you go, Maya's not impressing them. They clearly don't think very highly of her, and she's in the bottom. And then, surprise, she's safe when somebody who, did not do the best for sure, but maybe felt like, if this is about more than just, one thing that disqualifies you and puts you in the bottom, like if track record ought to apply at all, then Mirage really ought not to have been in the bottom. And while there was a limited track record for Hershey, I felt that her third outfit was not good, but her first one was so good that if you kind of start putting numbers on everything, I think it would be absurd to say that Hershey was in the bottom. So it's
something I go back to a lot is from our early drag experience of getting to know the show and seeing the Ivy Winter elimination and it being over that scent challenge.
Yeah.
And the fact was, well, and it was a weird challenge. And the fact is, this show just is that sometimes. And her scent sucked. Everything about her delivery. She was a wonderful competitor. Her lip sync was great and all of that. But she didn't do well in the episode. And so, yeah, that happens sometimes. But so far, I don't feel we have seen any queen who was cut who actually did poorly in the challenge of the episode. And instead, queens who did poorly in the challenge of the episode have been kept, sometimes for not winning the lip sync. And that's really uncanny to me. It's really making me anxious about the gameplay and the judgment on this season.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
And, to sort of interact with a little bit of what we're talking about, I am not saying I wish Maya and Geneva have gone home. I'm saying that if what we're talking about is there were people on the bottom, if I'm flipping a coin, I have to pick heads or tails. I am not saying that because I'm calling heads, I wish tails would have a terrible career and never be booked again.
No.
But I would go even further and say, if you have three people who, if we're judging on like a numbers-based criterion, if you had three people who got, a B-, and for one person that was an 82, and for one person that was an 81, and for one person that was an 80, the 80 and the 81, well, by now, and it's not an insult to say, you didn't perform the best. Again, as you said, it doesn't mean I don't like her. It doesn't mean that I thought she was a horrible performer, just that it was the lowest of the night.
And the other thing that I'm like trying to get to is it is a situation where someone has to go. And that is the nature of the game that we've entered into. This is one person goes home every week. And the fact that there's weeks that people don't go home that's great. But even if you truly believe you belong in the finale, okay, that's 14 girls. That's 10 people to outdo. Unless you truly believe you are just that sickening that nobody can have an opinion, I'm a little confused, perhaps, why Geneva is getting so angry when other people have feedback for her that matches the judges. It's part of where I actually do understand why a mandatory meeting, who won me over so hard, doesn't want Plain Jane's feedback, because she doesn't want Plain Jane's feedback. She didn't sign up for Plain Jane's drag race. She signed up for RuPaul's drag race, and she's not here to get dragged by this Boston bitch. She's a mandatory meeting. And in college, when she was obviously some kind of communications major, the photos that surfaced online were very handsome.
No. She's weaponizing the BFF.
Ooh.
So I just feel like there is a certain level of purposely being hurt by critique here. What is that? Where's season 16's this, guys? Come on.
Oh, can I also add a mandatory meeting best improvement? Because this week she actually looked much better comparative to the other 2 weeks.
Last week was a cup. This week was a mug.
This week was pretty good. I thought she looked pretty good in the challenge. And she had.
Would you call her Mugsy?
The mug was mugging, and she looked good, and I appreciated what she was doing given the writing. Oh boy. But I again, especially with Untucked, it's very clear to me Plain Jane, who I do think is talented, is choosing the route of, to get my screen time, I'm just going to be a massive bitch.
Yep.
And at this point, that is truly just what she's doing. Because if you can pull up the picture, Kevo, because I think it heightens the point.
I think it's next, actually.
I
made it extra special for you.
Hold on, I want to make sure I get this person's name because I don't want to just take somebody's picture without crediting them. I got this.
Yeah, I got it for you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Just talk.
If only we could get museums to be that cool about the new Native American Art Protection Act.
But and we saw this going into this episode. It was for a lot of people. It's hard for a lot of people. This was Mirage's elimination. She had a very human reaction of just bawling, and it was a lot of different emotions. It was a lot of different feelings. And this person on Reddit, thank you so much, Arcadia is not a bot, made this image of everybody's reaction to this, and how some of them look very gorgeous when they're crying, and poor Dawn in her man hand. It's a little jarring, but like how hard this hit all of them, and they're sobbing. And it's very fascinating to me that Plain could have gone into this as just her regular self as a person, and she still would have gotten screen time. I think she has the talent and the chops to do that.
She's also hot.
She's also hot too, and
she would have been fine.
So like,
she would
why
have
do
been
you
fine.
need to be an asshole on top of everything? You're already hot. You're clearly talented. You're tall. You got good bone structure.
I mean,
Why
I
are
think
you being such
I
a-
love you, tri-state area people. I don't think you quite understand how New England and Boston in particular rots one to the core. Katya is the exception, not the rule. We'll discuss more later. Yeah, exactly.
It's why I never want to hear shit about Jersey again. The Garden State Garden, we grow shit here. Okay, this is a place to come up, but it sounds to me like Boston is a place you get thrown in the harbor. Sink or swim, bitch.
But yeah, this image I think kind of it's just more showcase like, okay, I'm already recognizing this person is just doing this for TV, and you can like that or you don't like that. That's not what I want to comment on. It's more so it's fascinating to see the person she chose, which is Amanda, who I think a lot of people view as the easy target because her drag level of certain aspects isn't on the caliber of some of the other queens. And everybody has said that. That is literally a comment that every other queen has made. But the personality and talent and everything about the it factor is there with the mandatory meeting. The makeup and the looks can change. You can get better at makeup. You can get better looks. That's literally the two easiest things to change about a queen.
Hashtag Jinx Monsoon.
Yes.
Well, and I think Amanda's looks are competitive. I don't think she's one of those queens where it's like, somebody has already said to her, this is not, and it was Jane, it's not the place to bring like inexperience, it's not the place to show up and learn. And her response was like, you bring your strengths and your weaknesses. I think her makeup is strong in that it's creative and expressive. It might not have the sort of female illusion refinement that a lot of people are going for. And the purple didn't work out right. But alien concept and like, the reveal, I mean, I thought there was so much about it that was good, that the kind of narrative that like, you're a fucking clown, you're a mess, we love you, but you're such a mess, was, I thought I was surprised that like, even, in the next Untucked, Mirage just like, we all said that to her. I was kind of surprised that everybody said that to her.
I think one of the things, though, that a mandatory meeting does sort of bring to the table is, this is meant really positively. She's sort of like, look, I'm not going to be judged by your standards of beauty.
Yeah.
I might be DIYing it, but I'm getting a 10 on my scale.
And well, she also said, it's not for you to get. I think she's kind of relying on the fact that like we might like,
Yeah.
America might, very Mo Hart style. Zoom in, America.
And
and people are reacting to her so positively.
And I think part of it has to do with the fact that she's a little less presented than some of the other girls. I think we're seeing this jean jacket and perhaps maybe she's trying to be the boss Judith Light hair outside of drag. And we're all pushed a little bit to say, okay, what's the look here? Are we going to a Motley Crue concert when we know that's not you?
It's Adore Delano. Adore had good makeup skills, but a lot of Adore's outfits for season 6 weren't the best. It took a little while to kind of get there. She had to borrow a cincher from Bianca.
You
but
were mean, girl.
You like my body. But everything about Adore, like Adore's charisma was through the roof. And I see the same thing in a mandatory meeting. That's why I'm saying that a mandatory meeting has the it factor. She is amazing TV. She comes across as this like warm-hearted, like spirited performer that like can dance, can move, can bring joy to the stage. And I love that in my drag queens. It is just fascinating that she is the punching bag of the season. And when you see somebody whose idea is, I'm going to go in, I'm going to be the villain. I'm just going to say the meanest things possible that come off the cuff with no conviction. Everything that Plain Jane says has zero conviction behind it. Like,
I feel that.
There were some really bitchy things that Bianca has said that were, their conviction was there, and that's what made them stung. Nothing that Plain Jane has ever said, I still will bring it back to last week's Untucked, where she says, you haven't impressed me looks wise, and then she smirks because she realizes how insane and rude that is to just say to somebody, especially to a queen that wasn't in her half of the season at premiere, that she doesn't have that close rapport with, that she even starts the sentence with.
If it had been one of us and like the girl, I'm channeling Under the Bridge right now. If it had been one of us, one of the girls from her week, it would have been totally cool. But it's just that it came from you, and you're not like one of us, so you're a bitch. When Mirage, who I think is like the sexy, cute girl version of Anthony Kiedis in every way that matters, Dream About Las Vegas-cation. I think she really kind of said what a lot of us were thinking when she was like, Jane, it's not that we're all not thinking it, but it's just like, who are you to say it? And this season, and like, okay, I just want to give a little bit of credit to some women that are not coming up for the moment. Nymphia, who
gorgeous.
So many of her fucking blowbacks at Rue. We actually just watched a TikTok from I think last week with the tie outfit where Rue was like, that's going to take you a long time. And Nymphia was like, not worried. And Rue was like, And I feel like this week, a name that we need to talk about in addition to Nymphia, and I'm putting this name out there now, Plasma is a queen that I relate to. Because if there's something I wish I could do, it's I wish I could see how much I talk as instead of 100% of what I should say, I wish I could see how much I talk as 140% of what I should say. And I should edit myself down from there. I think Plasma is miraculously talented. Truly. What a dream and what a my sensibilities kind of queen. But if she doesn't stop talking, I can't miss her if she never goes away.
This was a great episode for Plasma. I deserved winner. Between the 3 that they put in the top, I also thought, quickly to note back to Jane, looked gorgeous this runway. The hair was a little, but Cher didn't like big hair. But she looked gorgeous. Plasma really, the talent is oozing, and it's really was amazing.
Ooh, ew.
Yeah, I know. To see somebody,
oh my god! And you said I could eat your entire ass? Ew.
Do something that they love for somebody that they clearly hold with such reverence and such love, and it was some of the best non-operatic live singing vocals I think the show has seen. She like the talent is there. She knew exactly what to do, it was really, I think it was either Michelle or Ross or somebody said, when you started to perform, I felt comfortable and I could relax because I knew you knew exactly what to do. And that's an amazing quality. I do want to pose a question I asked these guys this, Green Moon while we were watching the episode. So I want to pose this to TK and our audience. It was very fascinating. She didn't immediately want to do the Barbara role. And she said, because she was afraid that it would be she didn't want to make fun of Barbara. And I get that. But two things. One, at this early in the competition, do what you do best and just showcase that. Don't switch it up right now. This is still early on. Showcase what you can do best immediately. Two, methinks perhaps, and do you think, she was planning on potentially doing Barbara for Snatch Game, and now she can't because she did it here?
Or do you think she was going to play Doug Funny?
She does look like Doug. It is.
That is genius.
Ooh,
So
and then I can't steal credit for it. It was my credit, but also Pork Chop could show up as Pork Chop.
I
Love pork chops.
I think one of the other potentially boiling dramas is around Dawn. And I sort of blame everybody. Everybody was kind of not on their best behavior for this moment. Those three clearly wanted to work together. And when I say everybody was on their best behavior, I also mean editing. That scene was cut weird. We never saw, it felt weird that after kind of claiming the role and things were really settled, Dawn out of nowhere says that she actually wants the news anchor role. I feel like that was probably said earlier and in some way maybe not debated or a pin was put in it, but it comes off as a surprise moment that does make it look a little like she's coming in to disrupt and they want to be a trio, a clique of three that excludes Plasma. At the same time, they are correct. It is a perfect role for her and she will nail it. So was that actually what happened, or did they want to work together and they saw that they could, offer her something that was better? She then doesn't look great when she sees it as like such an offense, and also doesn't embrace potentially doing the role that would be really good for her. I never like when a queen says they don't want to do something because they don't want to disrespect the person.
So just don't disrespect them. You can do it without disrespecting them.
Exactly.
Don't dress up as a lady clown.
Exactly.
You're afraid of doing it wrong. You're afraid, but it makes it sound like doing it at all is disrespectful, and that's weird.
And a lot of people have said that around Snatch Game and impersonations. I'm shocked Geneva didn't say it about Lindsey Graham. But that's
why I didn't do it.
I do wonder if there was any kind of ulterior motive. It kind of depends on if she really came up with that I don't want to disrespect Barbara line on the fly. Because I feel like if I take her at her word with that, then no, she wouldn't have done Barbara for Snatch Game.
Actually, as somebody who is famous for doing things very well because I refuse to do things I'm not good at, I have a feeling that Plasma has that line ready to go. Oh, I don't do Barbara because I don't want to disrespect her. Oh, I don't do Judy because I don't disrespect her. Oh, yeah. I don't go to your birthday party because I don't want to disrespect myself. I think she's always got it chambered.
And the fact of the matter is, I think she does. Sorry, go ahead, Kevo.
No, my favorite part was the way that she was coaching herself into doing it and being like, guys, I think I'm almost ready to accept it. And everyone's like, we don't care. Do it or don't do it.
She really said, I don't want to do Barbara because out of respect. And then proceeded to list every Barbara fact there ever is.
Yep.
Don't make me do Barbara.
It was worst Cook's editing. It was truly worst Cook's editing.
So it kind of makes me
do it.
Don't make me sing. It kind of makes me think that her problem is a lack of confidence. And that is seeing it now in this context where people are teeing you up for success sort of makes me think I'm worried for you when you have to be your own cheerleader and do really well on your own.
I love that right now she's dressed as the magical Mrs. Mistopheles. But I think that one of the things
That is your second magical Mr. Mistopheles reference in 48 hours.
Look, we just watched
just
Cat.
watched-
He
My
is right,
brain
though.
has changed again. I haven't watched
He
Cat
is
since
right,
I was
though.
like 16 years old. This was a moment for me because so my whole life I've wanted to be Mr. Mistopheles, and I'm saying to Kevo how that's who I feel like as an adult, and Kevy's like, what? No, you're Rum Tum Tugger. You're like thrusting your pelvis and you have all the solos. And like, I have to reevaluate everything I think about myself now. But I bring this all together because this episode, like real serious, actual, side note, had a really worth discussing thing. We have not just one, but we have two incredible dreamers this season. It is such an important thing to me. If you want to endear me to a politician, you talk to me about their immigration reform policy, where we can get so many of these kids who have lived here their whole life. I almost said there, like I don't currently live in America, who have lived there their whole life. I'm in Canada right now, who have lived here their whole lives, who deserve to be here and deserve to be part of the America they've been making so incredible since the day they entered this country. And there is absolutely no reason to tear them from their families, their homes, their worlds, their lives. And that we have these programs like DACA, like the Dreamers Act, that create pathways and opportunities for, although it's a select handful, it's any at all. It is so important. And seeing not just these two incredible people choose to celebrate this part of themselves on television, but the incredibly correct decision by the producers to showcase it and to highlight it with careful affection. I was more impressed with that than I've been with the way the show has handled a lot of trans issues, a lot of issues facing people of color. So it was just a really beautiful moment. Way to earn those Emmys. I really could not have been more proud to have put up with Nancy Pelosi being on this show. Maybe she can rent another helicopter.
I mean, I think it's fascinating when Drag Race talks about kind of the personal political of anybody's situation. I think it goes poorly just as often as it goes right. I think some of that is due to these not being necessarily people who are prepared to speak on whatever a subject is. At the same time, I feel like, somebody's personal experience, even if they're not like the most erudite about how they talk about it, it can be really important. I think some of it is how it's edited. And again, there are story producers. There are people that walk up to you when, the cameras are still rolling, but they can cut this footage and say, hey, why don't you talk about this? Why don't you talk about that? Which is fine. That's how all reality TV works. It is far more authentic and real in RuPaul's Drag Race than it is in the Traitors. We'll get there.
I am sure that those bird calls came from deep inside Janelle's soul.
But this was a particular one where, even though it kind of felt like it was a little bit out of nowhere that the conversation was coming up, again, story producer saying, hey, maybe you guys talk about this. They really connected in a way that I think provided a lot of people with a window into a world that is so not their own. And honestly, I don't think it's changing a lot of people's minds from the RuPaul's Drag Race audience, but I still think it's really important to hear people's perspectives.
I think about when Mondo, that Mondo being honest with himself and wanting to come forward and talk about being a man living with a positive HIV status. That moment on Project Runway All-Stars, it's one of my favorite moments in the history of the franchise, because it was someone saying, this isn't part of your everyday life. And this is something you think it just happens to sad people. I'm somebody you cheer for. I'm somebody you love. This is part of my life. It's not something that you should look away from. And I just was so proud of the show for that.
Oh, how would we not talk about the best part of the entire episode? Is RuPaul performing?
Oh my God.
Also,
oh my
first,
God.
On the subject of something that you should never look away from.
I'm telling you.
And I hope she would love this.
He's a Marvel.
I had to. I don't have anything of Mother performing. I should have gotten screen caps. It's such a rarity.
I think it's for the best.
Can I say part of
I wasn't expecting her to be the musical guest.
and there's something about that I do want to touch on. We as a fan, like I'm a performer. I'm certainly no Grammy winning, Emmy winning.
Has she won a
but
Grammy?
I'm gonna imagine she's at least been nominated.
She is a
and
Grammy.
I'm not here. Yeah, right. I'm not here to fight with her.
No.
But I'm not some uber sexful. I am not some uber successful performer at that level. But as a performer, I am sometimes a little critical of when RuPaul says, know your words. And I want to be like, Mama, you professionally, publicly don't know your own. And there was something about the fact that RuPaul ushered out what I felt was an unfair sentence and conviction of a queen I would have really liked to see go toward the end. But I can't shit on the fact that she got up and mama danced. And that is actual to tonight. And that is something that I think is important to enter into the conversation. She didn't just send Mirage home. She sent Mirage home a night that she also performed. And
I'm so glad you said that. That's a really, really, really good and important point. Tonight was a night of all nights for her to say, I got up. I done got mine. And so, yeah.
Absolutely. I just went on a small rabbit hole. RuPaul has a Tony.
Yeah, and she also has a Billboard and Music Award. Well, she doesn't have the Tony. The show has the Tony.
Oh, yeah, Strange Loop has a Tony.
Yeah.
She's credited for a win for this.
Yeah. She has a Billboard Music Award. She has Billboard Music Awards for Supermodel. Yeah, but
okay. Can I tell you how confused I was? That I'm like, what do you mean a Strange Loop? How is that not just the Tony Award-winning musical or the Liz Phair song? Oh no, it is. It is the Tony Award musical that is the reference to the Liz Phair song. I just cannot figure out what Rue had to do with this.
I truly don't know what role she played either. But so it was very weird that was the song she performed.
Broadway producer, along with Alan Cumming, Billy Porter, Jennifer Hudson, and more.
I wonder if that's just a money thing.
It's a financial producer role.
Yeah.
It's put up money to keep the show open.
Yeah. She did get up there. I want to push RuPaul a little bit. I don't. One thing that has been said a lot is that RuPaul maybe would not be as successful on the show that she now hosts and produces, and would have, I don't know that would have ever been successful with a lot of these challenges. And frankly, was not at times when she would do them. She had a lot of sketches on that she's performed in a lot of sketches where she was not funny. And that's neither here nor there, but there are times where, particularly when it comes to Drag Race related performances, where I just think, I said this to you guys in the group chat, my mother is 71 and works very hard to be in shape. And has had insane rotator cuff surgery, like is an older woman, and I know could move more than Rue chooses to move for any number of reasons. And I just feel like sometimes I see these performances and I love that she performs, I love that she's up there, but the choreography is like less than two-stepping. For somebody who I believe has the acuity and the physical, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's something I don't know, but I believe has the, mental acuity and physical capability to do more, but just does not want to.
Because she doesn't have to.
In this outfit, I think she's revealing to us that she can also transform into a railroad car as one of her abilities as a transformer. So
talk about running train.
She loves trains, but she loves trains.
She loves. Oh my God!
We all like trains.
Train pride flag. Train pride flag.
Oh my God! I love that joke so much.
Okay, I want to move us to the end of our talkings about RuPaul's Drag Racings. We're pulling into the station. I am.
Keep it moving.
Get on board.
Not
going anywhere.
Oh man. What's Alec Baldwin doing? Maybe they can do a Thomas the Tank sequel. It'll be real explosive. So
well, we know what he's
I
doing.
I really want to see the show kind of recover from what feels like two nearly abusive eliminations in a row. There's not a whole lot of girls from this group that I would be okay with losing. And I'm certainly not saying everybody would. It would be a loss for somebody that isn't me if these other girls left. But it's really nice to see the outpour for Hershey and especially the outpour for Mirage. I tweeted a little bit about Mirage. I literally got new followers and people sliding in my DMs to say, seriously, aren't Mirage fans sexy? You're hot. And I'm like, damn. What power this beautiful woman has.
Go tweet about Mirage, you'll get DMs.
Yeah, for real. For real. So
for real? Moral of this episode.
I also want to say that something that oh my god, Slay, Mama.
One of the best guest judges we've had in a while.
Mama.
I'm just gonna say that Buffy, is probably the TV show that most changed my life of any TV show ever. I'll let everybody else be a little bit more eloquent about that. The only other thing I want to add is as a person who thinks that the finest food on the entire Eastern Seaboard can be found in Portland, Maine, seeing Plain Jane in a Portland, Maine hoodie was
thank you for the advertising. We need it.
What a cool city for a person to put on the map like that. I really can't say enough. It's like the best food I've ever had.
I feel like this is one of those things where she's absolutely somebody I've talked to on Scruff while she's passing through Portland, and someday I'll like have it in my history and I'll be like, oh, this did not go well. Because that happens more often than you'd think. I was so excited to see Sarah Michelle Gellar there. She's amazing. She's a queen. I really hate that they're making the guest judges go back and have the exact same conversation during Untucked every time.
My outfit. Check these diamonds.
That was the best part,
Becky
but the
G
same,
didn't
like,
go back,
you
did she?
queens are amazing, and what you do is so brave, and with all the things that are happening right now, and drag being illegal, it's just awkward.
I really liked that Sarah first talked about the state of art in general, and a lot of stuff, which felt like it was kind of thinly without actually on point talking about stuff going on with the strike. A lot of AI stuff that's going on right now. I like that she first spoke about the state of art in general, and because they are artists outside of just being queer and being drag queens. And it was her way of empathizing as someone who also is an artist, even if she is just an ally on the queer and drag front. And that was really cool and smart, and I appreciated that. I want to also say that what I always have to say, which is my bit of, I appreciated her being on the Comedy Challenge because of her sitcom, The Crazy Ones. Go check it out if you've never seen it. I don't think it's streaming anywhere, so you might have to buy it. But it's worth it. It's like the last thing Robin Williams ever worked on. And she played his daughter, and she was so good. She is my favorite David E. Kelly girl. Really, truly.
Is that Hamish
Kelly
Linklater?
girl.
David, what?
Is that Hamish Linklater?
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me. I
And
was
it's,
Kelly. Kelly girl.
Hey, everybody,
yeah.
it's Kelly!
And James Wolk.
Yeah, who spends
His
a big
handsome and
chunk
everything.
of the Watchmen TV show in his underpants, and it's real fun.
Well, now I have another reason to watch that.
Exactly.
Not watching this again.
We were wrong about the sarin gas.
I don't know that reference. Anyway, okay. Point to talk about. Mirage is going to be fine. The fandom has fallen in love with her.
Yeah,
she's going to be booked forever.
She's touring hard. She'll probably go on
booked
All
out.
Stars. She's also got to re-record She's Such a Bitch, and it will do numbers.
Call me. I will write any song you need. Call me.
We'll do it for you, girl. No, like she's going to be fine. We referenced the Valentina moment earlier. I looked at this as RuPaul trying to give Mirage a warning, like, hey, we think you could do better. Dance for us and do better next week. And it was just unfortunate that she just didn't know the words, and it kind of threw a little bit of what I think were production plans out the door. That being said, I hope she doesn't feel too hard on herself. I also living in the moment and then having to relive it again and watch it and have the public react to it are probably very complex emotions. It is a testament to just kind of, you never know what's going to happen on whatever you do, whatever TV show you're on. Just always be prepared.
And it's not like she's going to get a COVID where she can mass produce not knowing the words to this song to bounce back.
I really love that one of the things that she said was maybe I was having too much fun.
And I didn't come ready to play. Yeah, great point.
And you know what? It really came across what a joyful time she was having and what a wonderful person she is through that. And I think that's only going to help her image. And I think that if anything, let yourself be a lesson to other girls. And, remember it's a game. Remember to always be prepared. I've said before this, the minute you get that playlist, that's all you listen to until the time that season is done. And it's what you got to do. You got to have it all memorized. And, it's tough. She could have even known all the words. And that hair thing could have been enough to set Rue off. She hates feet. She hates taking your wig off. She hates what she hates. And sometimes if she's in a mood, you're just gone.
She also hates when people mix hairstyles of different eras. She hates that. This happened with Aja. It's actually the reason why they were in the bottom and eliminated? No. But it's very funny that it happened twice.
Sometimes stuff just happens, but at least you were beloved, and
And again, I think it's really fascinating the united front these girls are taking online, but that they are also so publicly and said sweetly, not said as mocking them, chronically online. They are very present.
Do you think they've hired a mandatory meetings company?
I think she's offering her services for free because she loves her sister so much. But man, I'm now realizing that people I see, fans that I see tweeting, especially about Amanda and Dawn so much, are actually their boyfriends, who are also entirely in the mix. And they've seemed to have formed a really tight group. They've been really vocal about do not send hate to Geneva. She did fantastic too. When it was, because it has happened every season. It's that thing, but the point being that when it was Nina sending Valentina home, Valentina didn't say anything, and
sending Valentina hate mail.
And that's the thing that I specifically want to clarify too. I know that I came in hot about this because I'm flustered.
Well, I don't think it was good, but that's not hate. That's a very different.
I'm not exactly. I'm not I don't want her to have a career. I'm do what you're supposed to be doing on these challenges. If you don't know who this is, ask someone. If you don't know the words to the songs, work harder to memorize them, because you could get called up any episode for anything. It could be a scent challenge.
Yeah,
you always got to be prepared for everything.
The thing I said about Mirage early on was the dancing was fantastic. Just empirically, she did not know the words. That is not a value judgment on her artistry or her ability to lip sync. She physically just didn't learn them. Similarly, I don't think Geneva isn't funny. I'm not saying that she couldn't ever do a comedy sketch. She specifically did not know who she was doing and didn't have any references, and it ultimately didn't work out. That doesn't mean that I think if she didn't go home this challenge. So at this point, I think she could make it to the top 4 just as likely as anybody else. She could be talented and ready to go for the rest of the season. I think, it's such a weird thing that happens with Drag Race where just nobody can quite get their head straight. Fans are either disgusting, horrible people that don't know how to treat these girls like human beings, or on the flip side of things, a lot of kind of valid critique where you're this person just didn't pull it out tonight, turns into how could you disrespect this artist? And there are a lot of times where it's I think the art could have still been fantastic. She actually just technically did not know the words.
And I think on that, do we have anything left on Drag Race before we stab into some Traitors?
From one murder to the next.
Listen, I want to level, okay? It was tough losing Mirage on Friday.
Oh God, right. I forgot about this part.
I didn't watch Traitors on Thursday. We caught this handsome gentleman up on Traitors, and now he's with us, and he's ready to watch. And so then I'm watching the episode, and so when Kevo and I watched all of Traitors season 1 in 2 days,
And their brains slowly leaked out of their ears.
Oh my! And our assholes, because everybody on this
so you're
show
allowed
is an
to lose,
asshole.
but I'm not.
Oh well, okay. Listen, Ivan, you can check. But the big thing for me is I walked away from season 1 with there is no more insane human being on this planet than Kate. Kate, who as she's playing is throwing money away, and then they're like, "Why are you doing this? Why are you sabotaging us?" And she's like, "I'm gonna cause chaos. I'm not gonna win the money anyway. No one likes me, so I'm gonna cause chaos." And she's literally just this fucking goblin. And then as soon as they win, Alan goes, "Kate, what was that?" And she goes, "I don't know. I got confused, I think." And like the denial. And so then she spends the whole first season being like, "Just banish me. I hate being here. Murderers kill me. This sucks. I thought this was going to be fun, and it's not." And by the end of the season, she's sort of like the only thing keeping them alive, like a dark sorceress, like the Regina of Once Upon a Time. And her magic.
Ooh, meets Regina George.
Yes.
From Mean Girls. Yes, them as one person.
Her magic keeps them alive, right? And then we get to season 2, and I am so fucking mad that these idiots, you gave up Janelle. You idiots! You gave up Janelle. Oh, just so. However, the greatest moment of all.
I'm still mad about this.
I'm still mad about that too. But the greatest fight of all time, the greatest fight in reality television history of all time. Kevo, do you have it queued up yet?
Oh yeah, I've got it. Hold on, let
me
me
run the greatest fight of all time for me, because if we're gonna talk about her, this is how we're gonna say goodbye to a queen.
Yeah, hold on.
I would like to show you all Emma Frost versus Celine.
That's why I think you're a traitor. Spoken like a true traitor. I'm gonna drink that water. You're nervous, aren't you?
No, my mouth is dry.
Okay.
You're a traitor.
You're a traitor.
You're a traitor.
You're a traitor, bitch.
Please.
You're the biggest traitor
Whatever,
here. So
okay.
off.
Oh, you off.
Work, both of them.
I love the communication. I love the drama. I love talking shit. Whoa.
Oh no. Teague, try again.
Her in the fucking pleather number with the fisting gloves. I know that they are evening gloves. They're fisting gloves. Gay men are not, I'm not calling them evening gloves. I love her so much. She's like, I felt a little bit lost in this show. I'm a huge Real World person. My last season is Trishelle's season, but I fucking hated Trishelle then. I tried to give her a chance. I fucking hate her now. CT.
You really never did Johnny Bananas?
No, I was Las Vegas didn't go well in the first place. I was not getting burned again after that.
Johnny Bananas. He is.
That doesn't mean anything to me because I quit. I really never watched it again after Vegas. CT, as Nico put it, always looks like he is in a prison production of the Newsies.
It's these two guys. It was a joint joke. I got to give it where it's due.
Thank you, Jonah. That's true, but that was not the case during his season of The Real World. So I feel like my friends have gotten weird. Phaedra is not my friend, though I know her very well. So I felt lost in this, especially because Peppermint went home first. That was my friend. So I felt lost in this sea of people. I don't really know them. I'm not a Big Brother person. I am not any of the show's person. I'm not a British Parliament person.
No, but Alan Cumming is, and he could not get enough of it.
Yeah, truly, I think he's trying to torture that man.
He's gonna have a heart attack.
He knows what he's voted on.
What I have become in the last year is a below deck person, because that is a show that I relate to as somebody that works in hospitality, that has to deal with garbage people who paid for me to provide them service. Chief Stew Kate is phenomenal. I have seen her through some incredibly cunty moments. She worked with the hottest captain, Captain Lee, who I believe you guys saw on Project Runway. Anyway, she's great. She is exactly what you get. So I felt really grounded when she showed up, and she provided exactly the kind of, like, her being like, I love drama, I love messiness, was exactly perfect.
I also need to point out, I did not know her because I haven't watched season 1 yet. I'll go back to watch it. And the first introduction of her is her saying, "Oh, this must be a love letter from Alan. He's obsessed with me." Like soundbite after soundbite after soundbite.
Yep.
This person was made for reality television.
Yep.
She clearly does not care how she comes across, how bitchy she is. Literally anything. She's like, "No, I love toxicity. I love causing chaos. I love all the drama. I'm
Disorder.
She was so funny, and she very clearly got a dossier of like who was already there, who she could potentially meet. It was very fascinating. She was like, "Well, I'm upset I didn't get to meet Ekin-Su," and then they were like, "Yeah, she was poisoned," and she was like, "No, pour your own cup. I would never drink anything from everybody else."
Oh my god, she literally made fun of them.
What's wrong with you people?
She literally said, "What is wrong with you people?"
To one of the traitors. She has no idea Phaedra is one of the traitors. And so she's literally saying both the traitors and the faithful are playing a terrible game. And guys, listen, anyone who watches season 1, it doesn't make any sense from the outside. But Kate is by far the best player the show has had in the US so far. Sealy. But still, I think Kate is, the way she played the game, you could not have ever guessed who she was. She played it so brilliantly, and that she's back in. I do want to make one other statement that I think is worth noting. Not only do they banish Janelle, but we have a potential situation here. I'd really written Bergie off. Bergie and Peter sort of seemed to me like the sorts of guys who are the submissive dudes.
They are the definition of the Peter principle. They are white men who have failed their way to the top.
Yeah, they kind of follow their very successful wives and do like, because not that that's what these men are in the real world, but like that's how they're kind of being portrayed here. They seem to be very like, oh sure, we'll go along with you, and they're always shown with another strong woman in the scene.
I also think they both have schemes that are extremely stupid.
Well, but so this episode out of nowhere, now they both have schemes. But the thing that I specifically love is if Bergie is going to make a thing of something, he understands a legend. And we got to do this for Janelle. She was a faithful, and she was willing to put herself out there for us. Like that he made this a cause. I'm really impressed because he started this season a dud, and now I want to see him make it. I really hope he makes it.
What I think everybody needs to understand is that they've concocted this it's smart enough plan. Smart enough.
It's at least Hardy Boys.
And the fact that Dan might fall for it from two of the biggest idiots who have ever been on a reality show. Like, I personally don't know Bergie and Pete, but I've done a little bit of research. And from what I understand, Pete is not the brightest. He says very dumb things. I think there was a line in The Bachelor someone talked about, oh, the guitar player, the guy who's doing a concert right now? Like, yes, the only person who's on stage playing the guitar is doing the concert. Yes, Pete. Like, he's not the brightest, but the fact that Dan might get outsmarted and the fact that Dan might actually lose to them is gorgeous.
He fought Poverty. Poverty is like, no, because no one else says her name consistently, so I'm not gonna either. So he's like, no, guys, I think this is something. I think this is a chance we got to take, and I think this is the plan that I want to go with because I don't know, and it's a chance we just got to take. And then
I loved his explosion when what's her name revealed she was a faithful. Good job, guys. Good job. Good job, everyone.
Can we also just say one more time for Phaedra
So
going?
manly.
Poverty. No one likes you.
Oh,
Everyone thinks you're a traitor. No one likes you.
Hold on. That was not the line of the episode. The line of the episode was, are there any boiled eggs?
oh, okay, which Tamara was killed, but that might have been a little bit of a production kind of thing. Tamara immediately went to the hospital. She had some medical issues. I think she's doing much better now, but I think that was like, she was not doing well. That might have been hey, can we like just, do this solid for us? we kind of need to just like we want to send her home. We don't want to like eliminate her.
I mean, and it kind of works out in terms of like it threw them off because it was just so random they couldn't think. I also, just want to point out that Pete also had a scheme last week, and I thought it was stupid then. He went with Kevin, and they did that whole fucking production about how they don't like each other. And it's just like the more and more Pete does little schemes, I'm just shocked nobody's like, Pete, why do you always have a little scheme? Are you a fucking traitor?
We don't think you're the traitor. We're banishing you because we want you to go home.
Yeah, you're just annoying as shit. What's the matter with you?
Nothing made me more angry this episode than the amount of people voting for Janelle saying, I think you're faithful, but I don't trust you, so I'm sending you home. You don't want to win then. You don't want to win.
You can get rid of, like, if you watch the first season, you can get rid of her. There's 2 final banishments. You can do the double back-to-back final banishment with the green fire, and you could get rid of her then. Oh my God, learn to watch the show.
Well, I do think there's something to be said for the idea, and it might be like a rules develop thing, but I think there's something to be said for the idea. Janelle's problem that they kind of acknowledge but then they pull away from, that I can't believe didn't come up more, is that like she's wrong too much. We're all like, she keeps showing up and bringing up ideas that are stupid and incorrect, and she's so vocal about them. And I really like the idea that somebody was like, she's probably not the traitor if she's this dumb.
You're the fucking traitor, bitch.
You're the fucking you're the cunt, bitch. But
oh, please continue.
It's unfortunate that there's no mechanism for getting rid of a faithful that is ineffective at their job. Trishelle,
the mute button for 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, like Trishelle really should have taken some serious punishment for what happened with Peppermint. And at this point, everybody else is just kind of shrug, but Janelle and Trishelle are 2 people in particular who I can think of that performed poorly in their duties beyond just being wrong, because they were so active and so vocal that I feel like there should be some kind of way of punishing or banishing other faithfuls who are garbage during the process, not just at the end as a final like, psych, you suck.
I will say, I do think for this episode, because if Janelle just stuck to Dan probably would have went home tonight.
Yeah.
If she cast her net a little wide,
Why would you say Sandra?
I think she got a little flustered. And to be fair, what was so fascinating is she has one confessional. She was like, these are the people I'm aligned with. I know these people are faithful. And she's right. Everybody she's talked about she was aligned with was a faithful. Yep. And I also love that she was like, and Kevin's a faithful too, because he's too stupid to be a traitor.
Yep.
Which, I mean, throughout this episode, I was like, oh, it's not a bit.
Nope.
Oh, he might not know.
He's just super hot and super dumb.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, he's in the bubble.
But I do. And also, they're like, it's this really weird thing where they're like, you got emotional, you're a traitor, as if being accused that I'm a traitor would not cause me to be emotional and get defensive. It's very fascinating how these people treat this idea of psychology of. If there's smoke, there has to be fire. That's not true. That's literally just not true. It was also, we will see how the plan turns out. But Janelle, this idea of this plan was really smart by both Janelle and Pete. Point being, it was Kevin specifically said you've led the charge on every elimination, and that is unequivocally false.
Yes.
It was, unless there are things that we have not seen, it was a really weird statement that everybody just kind of went along with that felt weird. Everyone's also like, well, Janelle's selfish. 1, you clearly have not seen how she plays Big Brother. 2, that to me would be the biggest indicator that she's not a traitor. She has no reason to gun after Shields the way she does. She has no reason to be like as vocal as she is. It's very, they didn't, like they weren't, I feel like a lot of people really weren't thinking. I really feel like that.
And can I just ask you guys a question? And I mean this like legitimately. When you sign up for this game, there's a possibility you're a traitor or a faithful. That CT keeps being like, you're going to call me a traitor again? With this again? I'm a traitor? Yeah. You know what? Listen here. I know you're the king of New York, but I find this whole every time you call me a traitor, you're impugning my dignity shit insane. you know that 2 to 3 of you minimum are traitors, and that he keeps being like, you're questioning my values and honor as a man.
It's weird that he keeps thinking that it's like a put to bed issue. Like, we decided CT's not a traitor. We got to look at the other people. It's like main character energy in a way where, like, no, everyone is suspect.
Oh my God,
Really?
when everybody was like, Kevin, we think that you're weak to other alpha men. And he was like, I'm going to keep talking now. And CT and Dan, they literally cut to them laughing.
No, I have to give CT probably arguably, well, what is an episode of Gem, full of gems of amazing lines. CT saying, I don't know how birds survive natural selection. They're weak is one of the funniest things. Him dragging the entire bird
Meanwhile,
community.
the biggest alpha on this whole goddamn show, dressing like a bird every single day. I'm gonna start queuing up all sorts of Alan Cumming outfits from this because it's
we need
beautiful.
the side by side of RuPaul with her opera glasses. I can't wait to see how this turns out. Also, another great one-liner from Sandra that well, there should have been shields inside for people who don't like to run, like me and Phaedra. Like, relatable. We like the queen of relatability.
Let's just say it one more time though. Bird call challenge. Yes, please. This was
So stupid.
uniquely humiliating
Yes,
because they all had to keep making the noise. So one person goes, okay, the bird went, and so then everybody inside keeps going, okay, guys, and they just keep running around making the noise at each other and then making it at inanimate objects and putting them to their ear.
Because Alan Cumming is a Birdman.
I don't care what the reason is. It was so funny. And like to go because like I wish the funeral had been funny. It was not. It was weird and it
Oh my
was
God, but MJ. Oh my God, MJ sitting up covered in black roses is the highlight of my day.
Yes, I mean like that they were so incredibly incorrect was very funny. But like it just it's a weird thing with the show. There's so many zigging when I think they should zag. I don't know what the right term is, but it's the thing I said before where I'm like, I wish this was either a lot more reality TV or it was a LARP. I really wish that they were playing characters because a lot of this, like, who are we going to murder when it's actually just a fucking note that you get. And like, I don't know. It's a weird thing that's happening. And so a silly challenge, like, of course, on a palatial Scottish estate, bird watching makes a ton of sense. But the way they do it is just so silly and stupid and campy that it's really funny. Where, like, I think a funeral taking place on an old Scottish estate also could be really funny. But it just comes off like both too sincere and also like there's too much of a process to it. He's like, we have to walk and then like the poison person is slowly dying and now we will all get into the coffins and you must add it. Just, I don't know. There are really times where as much as I think this could be like an A+ show, it drops down to a C+ for me because I'm just not loving every aspect of it. And holy shit, do I hate all of these people.
Well, I am getting frustrated that they're not succeeding. The faithful are really bad at their jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it's because, and I would say it this way, Dan is not playing a good game.
No.
I can respect how Dan plays on Big Brother,
Yes.
but he is playing this like it's Big Brother, and it is not. Literally, Bergie said to him, I'm voting you every week. To his face, I'm voting you every week. You cannot convince me you're not a traitor at this point.
I think I have a way around it. I'm going to tell everybody who I want to point the finger at in the morning. And I think I could buy myself time.
And that honestly is like, it's kind of becoming a thing. Like, as annoying and stupid as Janelle was, and as bad as that fight was, Dan still is behaving too weirdly. I'm just shocked that everybody at that table was not Like, this was just such a weird thing. And it's one of those moments that makes me feel like nobody's actually even playing any kind of game and the show is just entirely produced, because Dan's behavior is too weird.
And like the fact that nobody has clocked, part of the weird behavior is he's not working with Janelle. Janelle's like, he's giving me no information. He's giving me nothing. I've tried talking to him. Nobody sat back for a second saying, hey, that's weird.
Yeah.
These two people who are Big Brother All-Stars aren't working together.
Also, Phaedra saying, do we have any boiled eggs?
Yeah, okay.
Like, she might as well have a knife in her hands.
Is that actually how that happened? Or was that a Tammy Brown teleport us to Mars? Kind of. Like,
it is entirely a non sequitur. They're like, so Tamara must have died.
And people are literally going, oh, Tamara.
She's like,
And she just goes, do we have any boiled eggs?
And then you see her eating prosciutto.
She's hungry.
Just eating prosciutto.
Which, like, is exactly my vibe. But if I were playing in this game, I would ham it up a little bit. And she just looks evil, like in a reality TV show about murder kind of way. That nobody has said anything when she is behaving so weirdly. Two people have now mentioned that she got Ekin-Su got the wine from Pavarti. There are just so many things where I'm like, these people are either so stupid and me thinking it would be offensive, or like if I ever said somebody was that stupid, somebody would be like, that's really mean, Tim. Or this is like being produced.
The other thing I think it has that is a third option.
Please.
I think we are really seeing why Deontay left. There is a certain madness overtakes reality shows.
Yeah.
And we've even seen like queens talk about it after the fact, where like queens have said things like, yeah, I don't know why we all ganged up on that person.
Yeah.
Or like, we saw it on Project Runway. That meanness mentality takes over. And when everybody in a limited microcosm, when you're used to a celebrated macrocosm of agents and marketing, when all of a sudden you're stripped down to this weird courtyard and the surrealism, and these people must all be marched out a couple of times a night individually, because otherwise the footsteps in the hall would tell you who were the traitors. So the traitors must do their filming while other people are filming their talking heads, because the talking heads align with the outfits from the episodes.
Or I would imagine it's also entirely possible that it's done, that them deciding and stuff is filmed separately. Like they decide a different way. They decide unrobed, maybe through producers speaking to each other. They have some kind of way to decide. And then when all principal filming is done, they bring the traitors back to do all of the walks and the meets so that those are filmed appropriately.
I could buy that.
Yeah.
The only thing that would make that a little hard for me is then they also have to produce the talking heads separately, and that would require 3 sets of like story production. And I just don't believe they have 3 sets of story editors on this. That just does not feel like something they're doing. But I really do hope that we see a satisfying conclusion of the season. I'm nervous about who's banished next week. We know that Bergie couldn't go home, so focusing on him in the next time on wasn't a big deal, but there is an overhead shot, and I chose not to count the number of people, because if I count the number of people, I'll know if they fell for the strategy or not. Because if it's the same number, then they fell for it. And if it's not the same number, they didn't.
Yeah.
But losing Janelle sucked.
But you got Kate. It's going to be okay.
Exactly.
Okay, but I want both of them there.
Yeah. They would have had some great discussions.
Traitors All-Stars. I can't wait.
Yeah. There are a lot of times when I always now flash back to this most recent season of Drag Race UK with Jonah. You always have to remind me of her name, Naomi.
Miss Naomi Carter.
Naomi Carter, thank you. when RuPaul tells her that the outfit is almost so bad that it is good. This show actually is that. It is so bad. There are so many things that are wrong with it. These people are horrible. And it's not even that they're so silly. I love them. I absolutely hate basically everybody and am just watching all of their downfalls. I am enjoying it. I really am enjoying it, but I have like almost nothing good to say about it. And I'm really curious how I would enjoy it if they would take the ideas that I have to actually make the gameplay better to make the show. I wonder if that would actually make it better or if it would be worse because it doesn't have the magic of just like the numerous factors of chaos and terribleness that make it what it is currently.
You know, I actually love that. I really, really love your suggestions as well. The only perhaps suggestion I would add is maybe no more than 2 people from a franchise.
Agreed.
While one thing I really appreciate, okay, season 1, it's 7 famous people, you know, famous by this show standards, 7 non-famous people. So the non-famous people don't know how to compete. They are
so entirely never on a reality TV show or anything?
Correct.
Okay.
Like, I left my job at a bank. I need this so bad. This is going to help me pay for my child.
Yeah.
Like, and so when they get lied to, they're devastated. They literally can't mentally or emotionally recover.
Yeah. I
Then
love
this
that.
season, going to 22 people, all of this caliber. This is a lot safer. This is a lot more correct. The thing we saw in season 1 where it really was like, the housewives stayed with the housewives, the gamers stayed with the gamers, and the normies stayed with the normies. Here, we haven't seen it quite so bad. It hasn't quite been Bravo gamers, etc. Because like Kevin is a Bravo person, but seems to have no love for the Bravo people. Phaedra has been very clear that she only cares about Sherry of the Bravo people. Sherry, thank you so much.
Who gets no screen time?
Who gets no screen time despite being
2
so
seconds an
great? Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a drag race thing. She's not just that she isn't giving anything really to work with. I don't know if she's not really like giving storyline or anything.
Are they saving her for the end?
I will say 5 episodes in and more than 5 people gone, I am now feeling a little bit more grounded in who everybody is. And this is a problem that I have when it's more than like really 12 girls on Drag Race. And it's interesting. These 2 different shows have very different solutions to this, but like this season of Drag Race with the split premiere and how like strong and active on social media all these cast members are. I knew who they all were in episode 1, but like even, you know, seasons 12, 13, I just completely missed some people early on and not like remembered them or understood them. And it kind of makes it difficult to get into for a hot minute. I really felt like that a lot of the time with Traitors. You know, like I'm looking at Max there and the only thing I am remembering is that nobody could spell Max the same way when they voted him out. But I don't remember anything about Max.
I was dancing with the stars. I have a vague European accent that no one can tell where it's from.
Did he appear on Fuller House?
Yes.
Oh, I knew it. Oh, I really get where you're coming from, and it's why I appreciate season 2 more than season 1, because in season 1, when I couldn't tell people apart, but half of them were normal people, it made it even harder.
Yeah, I believe that 100%.
Like, because you don't want to come at a real person being like, she's just a bitch. Like these people, that's who you do that for.
Yeah.
At least with these people, if I don't know who they are, where they're from, I know they're all from the same caliber. So you're all here like to play a competitive reality game. It's not my mom has hospital bills.
Right.
My kid needs braces.
Right.
Ugh.
Every single one of these people can do Instagram brand deals to make up the money they don't get if they lose. And that's fine.
It's also, we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I don't know if people understand the psychological effects that going into any kind of social game like this Big Brother, Survivor, where you have a social game aspect to it, where eventually you might have to backstab to somebody or lie to somebody. It's a lot. And when it's something different when it's like Survivor or Big Brother, where like I think you kind of understand what you're getting into. You understand what that means, and there's people prepared for it. But a game like this, where it's like apparently pitched to Kevin, oh, it's all fine. We're all going to work together towards a goal and somebody's going to win. And that's not what this is. This is a full social game. It is a lot can be a lot for your average Joe to go on this and be like, oh, they backstabbed me. Oh, it's a lot.
Any last things on the Traitors before we open the floor to the floor?
Nico, I'm going to say this because I know you're going to react big to it, and it's like one of few things you and I really just don't agree on with this show. I really do not enjoy Alan Cumming in this role. Again, it is that thing of I wish that he were either playing fully a character, that he was fully, we weren't even supposed to pretend that this is hamming it up. Like, fully it is a character, or that he would tone it the fuck down. Also, this is a production note. Him just throwing the photo on the ground is weird. Have a receptacle. Give me a smashing glass sound every time he does it. What is wrong with you people? It's the details. I don't blame Alan for that.
No, it's a season 1 thing too. I think it might be like built into the many international versions of the show.
It's very weird that it just goes on the carpet. Who picks that up? That's all I think about is the poor production intern that has to go pick up all these that he slaps on the ground. I just wish that he were God, what is the Mike Myers game show where he's playing like multiple characters that you I kind of wish that it was like that, where he was just playing a character rather.
Cheeky monkey.
You cheeky monkey.
Because he kind of is. It's just like we're also supposed to be like it's Alan Cumming, and I'm not into it.
Well, and we watched a clip because he talked a little bit about Kate, not as much as we would have liked. So the clip was a little disappointing, but he did talk about how this is hard for him and how he actually is a really bad liar himself, and he frequently breaks. And he did say something a little bit to the effect of this is a character for him, but I feel like it is maybe that even then sheds light on the character that is Alan Cumming in general, because this does feel like who we see Alan Cumming as, and maybe that is more character than we realize.
I think they should just call him the Games Master or something.
And he perhaps should be a little bit more exaggerated, because he can be Alan Cumming and be a little bit more exaggeratedly. And I think maybe he thinks dressing up like a bird and throwing and being a leprechaun and throwing the portraits on the ground, that's enough. But I think maybe he's not realized how much of an eccentric caricature of Alan Cumming he himself has created. Yep. He's not exactly like Helena Bonham Carter, but he's kind of approaching those levels as far as what we think of as Alan Cumming. And I don't think he thinks of himself in that way. And maybe if he was more aware that we thought this was you, we thought this is what you go home in, this is what you show up to work in, and you go home and you put on more feathers. And I think maybe he's a little bit more basketball shorts than we know.
I really want to believe it, Kevo.
If we were more aware of that, I feel like we would have a different reaction.
Yes.
But, yeah.
All right. Well, then I think it's time to switch from a host that I think does a great job. I think he's a lot of fun, but I do kind of recognize that this is just sort of like the talk show host appearance version of Alan Cumming, to a show where the host actually doesn't know how to host the show at all. Rob Lowe is a gorgeous man and an incredible actor, and hosts this like he's talking to you from his makeup chair in a way that I find a little surprising. He's very, wow, you did a really good job. I did not expect you to do well. Like, he is a little almost unpolished for the fact that they're clearly feeding him information like he's still on a Sorkin. It's fascinating, but we are here to discuss the fact that the floor is a show where it's 81 contestants on this 81 grid floor. It's 9x9, and they're each given a domain of knowledge, whether they're an expert at it or it's something they know. It seems to vary, but they say they're all experts in the initial bumper. And then there are 5 matches per episode. Somebody is initially picked at random and selected to choose one of the neighboring squares to challenge on that person's topic. So, for instance, if somebody has spices and one of the people next to them has TV shows, they would then have a knowledge competition where they have to identify TV shows based on what appears on a screen. Whoever wins gets to decide if they keep going or return to their square and have another person randomly chosen. 5 people go home each episode. At the end of each episode, whoever has the most squares gets $20,000. They are all working toward a collective pot of $250,000 at the end of the season. The show is very clearly kind of like almost a reveal, like a mystery, because you never know who's going to get picked, who's going to get challenged. At the end of the final episode that I'd last watched,
The last one you watched was episode 3, right?
3, correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We had gone from 81 to 66. At the start of the episode that Hulu mistakenly uploaded as 4th, there are 25 competitors left. I now know the next 6 episodes or so of a slow reveal game show about who will or won't survive. And it's that they literally break it down in the teaser. They're like, as you all know, the following things have happened. And you're watching and you're like, wait a minute, this is weird. What? Hold on. And because you don't understand, like, it's not saying this is the 9th episode. Like, so you don't know. And so I'm a little heartbroken because this was a really great format for a game show. Other countries actually use a 10 by 10 grid, which I think is egregious.
Too many.
I actually think
This one is idioms. I keep thinking it's worms.
Looks like it says bombs.
I
That's
wish
a bomb.
I wish I could go all
next to tourist hotspots, I thought it said famous seacocks. Left, keep going.
There it
you
is.
go.
Famous
Famous seacocks.
Sidekicks.
Nope.
Seacocks.
Well, I like
Seacocks.
Seacocks better.
I love this show. I love its format. I think it's exciting. I think it's cool. And I think it's a little spoiled for me. We did an episode about spoilers yesterday and about how like that's not a thing that we really want to get involved in when it comes to something like Drag Race, where before a season's even properly announced, you can find out the Order Queens started resuming their appearances. So like you got to be really careful. I can't believe a technical error spoiled this show for me. I'll probably go back and grab it when the season's over and I can have something new. But man, this bummed me out. How would you guys feel if that happened in like Drag Race? If, instead of the 4th episode, we got the 9th episode and we just saw who was left. That's like something comics do. And then they reveal how you got there over 6 months. But this felt like a loss. And, Hulu responded to me right away. There's a Wikipedia update on the entry for the Floor US about it. I'm a little bummed.
At this point, I would not. I honestly, at this point, weirdly enough, despite hating it so much, I would be more upset for that to happen with Traitors than I would for Drag Race. Because at this point with Drag Race, I'm here just to watch the artist showcase. And I kind of feel like, hey, that's a note. Like, 16 seasons in, the show has evolved, and I really am here for a lot of seeing amazing artists do their art. And, there can be a competitive aspect to it, but, like, I don't super care even who wins, even who's in the top 4. I just want to see these girls get to do their best. I want to laugh when they do their snatch games. What would hurt me the most is for Hulu to accidentally like show me all of their looks like randomly without getting to, but with Traitors at this point, I think if I accidentally got episode 8 tomorrow, I would be a little bummed to not get the story of how we got there.
I think part of that is the way that Drag Race is produced. There's often, and the way that you get to a certain amount of challenges, you're like, okay, outside of something really shocking happening, you people are going to make it to the top. And I expect to see that these couple people probably be eliminated in the next couple of episodes. So there isn't as much shock factor outside of rare instances of a really shock elimination. That doesn't really happen a lot on Drag Race. For a show like TK saying the Traitors or this, where you might not know anybody who's there and a lot of the competition is based off of, oh, who are they going to banish? Who are they going to kill? Who's going to try to take more pieces? Who's going to lose their spot? because especially on a show like this, we don't know outside of the people when they start taking pieces and they start being aggressive with how much space they have. You don't really get to know them. They're up until episode 3. There's still more than half the people who have not spoken at all.
Not been focused on.
Because their piece just hasn't been picked yet. It's really disheartening. And it's a mistake. I don't want to... I'm sure whoever is responsible for the mistake already got reamed for it, is already potentially fired, whatever the ramifications. So I'm not going to try to I'm not going to dog on this person or people.
The fact is, it doesn't affect everyone in the same way. A show like this moves so fast and so chaotic that, I didn't necessarily follow everyone in the names as well. I don't really remember even what we saw. I just also was very aware that it seemed very strange and out of place. But either way, whether this affects you personally or not, as them dropping this early and you accidentally having seen something, that's going to affect the longevity of this show. If this turns a lot of people off this early in the first ever season of a show like this, that's really going to affect ratings, and that's going to really affect the possibility of this show getting picked up for a second season. It's already a really complicated gameplay system that I think is fascinating, and I'm really interested to keep seeing how it plays out. But it's already got that playing against it. So for it to then have this happen so early, and the fact that it's not even just the next weeks, this was, we're pretty sure, the penultimate episode of the season. That spoils a huge amount of the season. That was really frustrating.
So, unfortunately, there's not a lot more to say, but now I don't want to go back till the season's over. So, it actually did have that. I'm not going to remove it from my stuff, which was actually specifically what Hulu said. Please do not remove it from your my stuff. I agree. I'm not going to remove it from my stuff, but I'm not going to watch till the season's over. And I'm afraid that might hurt the numbers. But I'm kind of turned off, and it's about my enjoyment experience. It's not my job to keep a show on the air.
No, it's not.
So, that all said, I've had a great time talking these 3 episodes with you guys. This was a great week for a lot of shows. I think it might have been disappointing stuff for me, but it was not ungood. And I hope that these shows remain pretty on top of what they're doing. I look forward to covering them more throughout the season. How about you guys?
I mean, I'm really on board with Drag Race and Traitors right now. It's funny, I have so much to say about the shows themselves, but I also totally take them for, I'm not so much Traitors because that's kind of new, but I see Traitors being one that I would happily return to for us to cover. And Drag Race is Drag Race. I mean, we're going to be covering a Drag Race of some form or another for the rest of time,
as long as drag exists.
Yeah.
I'm devastated by who we lost in both Drag Race and Traitors. It was back-to-back blows, and it's unfortunate. Sometimes it just happens. You have certain people you root for and you love, and they have a bad episode, and they go home, and you're like, damn, well, guess I'll keep watching, I guess. It's not exactly how I feel, but it is a similar sentiment. I will miss both Mirage and Janelle. I think they make great TV, but that's the way the game is played. Somebody has to go home, and sometimes it's your fave, and you just go from there, and you're like, you know what? I have some other people I'm rooting for too, and I like, so let's see how it goes.
Kevo, you produced this. You're stuck covering it. You excited?
Yeah. What's next week for Drag Race again? What's the challenge?
Girl group.
Girl group.
Beep, 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 beep. UK, hon. So now I know what the intro for next week is going to be.
Well, hopefully I have time to get a cover together before it's time to put a show up. I'm excited. I'm excited to see where this season goes. We got a lot of girls, a lot of talent, and it's going to be great. But until next time, Jonah, where can everybody find you on the interwebs?
Until next time, you can follow me anywhere at Peak Jonah. That's Peak.
Okay, I'll throw it to you, Kevo.
Well, you're in the same box. I thought we were doing that thing again. I am, as always, your producer, Kevo Really. Don't be shitty. you can find me doing my thing as I always do here. You can find us doing our thing as always on this channel. I posted a whole bunch of links to a whole bunch of our different broadcasts that we mentioned. So as always, check the live chat, check the comments for links to some of our other amazing work. And until then, Teak, where can the folks at home find you, sir?
Nowhere. I'm hiding. But if you look real hard, it would be at TK Elemental. Nico, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me all over this amazing channel. I love making this show with everybody here. You can also find me all over the internet at Nico Action. Don't forget to check out my SoundCloud, my YouTube for my music, and more. And until next time, guys, 6 things, 3 of them pretty minor, 3 of them pretty major. Like, comment, subscribe. We really appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Do we want to watch the bitch scene again real quick or no?
Let's save it. Oh, that was a yes. Was that a yes from TK?
I mean, no. It's fine. I thought it was funny.
It's the best moment.
So until then, we have 3 other things you got to do. Number 1, we want you guys to stay safe. It's a spooky world. Number 2, we want you guys to be brave. It's so important that you guys make sure that you are always putting yourself in a position to keep doing what you're doing. And number 3, we want to see you guys evolve daily. There's always a better you tomorrow, so let's get you there, right? And, I'm really excited for so much of what we're heading toward in the next couple of weeks. It's going to be so much great content, and I cannot wait to bring it all to you. So until next time, guys, we're going to see you.
Goodbye.